Hey, what's up, Chuckers? Trying to YouTube here, man. Hey, what's up, Chuckers? Welcome back. This channel is about everything DIY around the house. Here to help you through your projects. See how I do them. You can change them how you want to do them, and we'll get something done. So since I was a kid, I always wanted a loft bed. The dreams of a loft bed, climbing up the ladder. It's like a little tree house, but in your room. I always wanted one, and I never had a loft bed. So a few years back, I decided, you know what? I'm going to build one, and I'm going to do it in a weekend. So I'm going to show you how I built the loft bed in a weekend for less than $250. I came up with a design on the spot. It wasn't really thought out. I just had some ideas in mind. I'm sure I could have done things a little better. It turned out pretty good, but you can take this and change it however you want, customize it a little more and fancy it up if you'd like. But I'm going to show you how I did it in a weekend on the fly. Hey, before we get too far into this tutorial, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to stay up with the latest and greatest DIY projects from Just Another Chucker. I purchased the lumber on a Friday evening, and then the following Saturday morning I started with the sanding. Used 150 grit sandpaper the whole time, and I started sanding the wood, removed the dust, apply the urethane, and then I just did, I think it was 2 or 3 different steps on that. So I would sand the wood, remove the dust, urethane, sand the urethane, remove the urethane dust, urethane again, and I did that, I believe 2 or 3 times. And when you're done with that, you'll have a nice smooth finished product. No splinters, hopefully. That's kind of what my objective was here. Something easy to wipe down, really smooth for the kids, because there's going to be kids climbing all around this thing. So the last thing I wanted was a kid screaming with a splinter in their hand or foot. I did leave the lumber all at the length that it was right after purchasing it. So you can do that, or you can cut it to length after the dimensions are marked on the wood, cut it out, and then urethane it. But I believe I just did this all in one go. So after all the urethane is dried, we're pushing well into Saturday evening. At that time, I just took the lumber, marked all the dimensions out, and pre-cut it all, so when I woke up the next morning, I was ready to start the assembly process. Now grab a pencil and your level, and we're ready to mark up the walls. So you start from the floor, measure up 54 inches, and make a mark. And then make a line from that into the corner and then out from the other corner. So pick an ideal spot for this loft bed to go into in a corner, and then 54 inches up, make a line all the way down and all the way out of the corner. That's going to be the bottom of the bed frame. When you're done with that, be sure to mark the studs and measure up high enough so when you're done mounting this thing to the wall temporarily, you can see where you need to install your lag bolt. First part is the frame. It's going to be a 2x10 outside frame. The outside ones are going to be 78.5, and these inside ones are going to be 38.5. 2x10, just make sure these ones go over the end ones. These end ones will sit up inside of those. It changes the dimensions, so make sure you get those right. And then after you get that all boxed in and screwed together, you're going to do the 2x4s that hold the bed supports. And those are 75.5 by 35.5. And you just run a screw every so often to attach those to the 2x10 on the inside. I found that before you put all these slats on here, it's a lot easier to lift it in place and temporarily mount it to the wall without these slats on here because it gets heavy quickly. So do the 2x10 and the 2x4 box, and then get your 4x4 ready, and then you can temporarily mount it to the wall. So I cut my post at 77.5 inches. So get your 4x4 post ready and some help. You're going to need some help holding this up into the corner and against the wall while you're attaching the post to the frame and then the frame to the wall. You can use some of the 2.5-inch grabber screws, the deckmate screws, to temporarily hold this to the wall and to the post. You're gonna get your lag bolts ready, have your studs marked out, and I pre-drilled the holes for all the lag bolts, slightly smaller than the bolt size. I found that they went in easier. So pre-drill your holes. I use 2 per stud, and my studs are on 24-inch center. I found that if you use a paddle bit, you can use that to countersink the lag bolt into the wood so it doesn't hang out. It's your choice, you can do that or not. I just found it sits in there a little cleaner and it looks a lot better, even though you're not going to see it. The end product looks a little better that way. Okay, now that we're all mounted to the wall, we're ready to attach the bed supports. Of course, these are measured at 35.5. And I did one up against close, and I did a 2.5-inch gap, and then another board. And I just kind of laid them in there. And now we are ready for the railing. So, the top rail was 51.5 inches, and I did 45 the corner, miter the corner. And this one's 45 inches. This one here next to the ladder is going to come up right here, is 23.5. So these are 2x4, 2x4, and 2x4. And then after that, we're going to attach the rails at a 2.5-inch gap, very similar to the bed support. I measured 28.25 to the wall from this 2x4 over to the wall. And I also, at the bottom, I 45'd these so I didn't have a sharp edge. Okay, I am by no means a ladder expert, but what I ended up doing was 66 inches was total point to point on the outside. I did a 7.5-inch gap, so I started with nothing, 7.5 rung, 7.5 rung, and so on. And then the width of the stairs was 21.25. That's the stairs themselves, not with the side rails on it. And then these angles here and here, I just kind of had to fine tune and keep cutting some off because initially we had it on carpet and then we switched to hardwood floor. So that seemed to work okay with those angles right there for both sets of floors. It does seem to hold better on carpet, and they sit a little more flush on carpet this way. I guess it's a little more give for my not so good math. But then when you're done with that, you're going to attach this ladder to the bed frame right here. And then on the inside right here, you can attach it up here to the 2x4 up above for the railing. So just remember, you can't hold me liable for dimensions or exact quantities. This is also a great weekend project to get the little ones involved in. They'll feel very accomplished when they're done helping. They can see the work that they've done, and they'll enjoy it for years to come. Well, that is it. A loft bed in a weekend for under $250. But double up the frame, mount it down below, attach it to the wall and the post, and you've got yourself a bunk bed. I don't know. Worth a shot. Good luck to you. See you next time, Chuckers.